When the LG G2 first came out, it made quite a stink, and for good reason. It set the bar high, not just for LG as a company, but for the market as a whole. And with some of the best standout features we've seen yet, like some of the slimmest bezels to date, an awesome 13 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, and of course, the iconic button placement, LG really shook things up. But as with all technology, we often become enamored with the latest and greatest thing and forget that what we have already is still pretty great. So let's fix that. Let's take a look at the LG G2 and see how it's aged since its release in November. Much to my surprise, the LG G2 is actually aged quite well. Like a fine wine, you could even say. And that's a pretty appropriate analogy considering the experience has actually gotten better over time thanks to some sweet software updates. Most variants have received the 4.4 KitKat update at this point, but my Verizon variant has yet to receive it officially. I did, however, find a Verizon build from LG on XDA and flashed it to find that all the claims LG made about it were very much true. LG claimed a noticeable performance boost, something that I definitely see here, as well as an overall smoother Android experience, something else that I definitely see here. There are also a few camera-centric updates that we'll get into a little bit later that turn an already great camera even better. Long story short, LG managed to capture not just my attention with the phone's design, but with its software, and make me excited for not just the G3, but for the future of LG as a company. Durability is another category that the G2 has proven to be pretty great in. Yes, it's made of plastic, and yes, it's a fingerprint magnet. But those two characteristics don't really take away from the fact that it's held up quite well. Since day one, I've had it in a modest black silicone shell that you see in front of you, and it's survived a handful of drops here and there without any real scratches. The one scratch you do see on the screen is only on the screen protector, believe me, I checked, and is only there because I accidentally tossed my keys on the screen while my phone was on my bed. So while the G2 may not have the most premium feel of, say, the iPhone or the HTC One, it managed to hold up just fine with the materials it's made of, so I don't foresee that really being an issue in the future. I think it would be wrong of me to talk about this phone and not mention the obvious button placement. The biggest questions I get are, isn't that weird? And how do you get used to that? The answers to both of those questions are no, but it was at first, and very easily. It's actually really weird for me to use any other phone that doesn't have buttons on the back, but then again, that's how it feels to use the G2 for the first time. The rear button placement is what I would consider to be a small revolutionary feature, because it just feels right and kind of makes sense. Sort of like front-facing speakers are, and yet so few manufacturers have actually implemented them. All in all, the button placement only enhances the experience and even provides some useful shortcut features, kind of like accessing the camera. So kudos LG, you did good. Alright, so now it's time to touch on the camera. I do have to make a disclaimer here though. The KitKat version I'm running right now includes the camera app ripped from the LG G Pro 2, so I can't entirely guarantee that all these features will be on your phone immediately following the update, but it would be pretty crazy if they weren't at some point included. If you've used the G2's camera, or even seen it, you know that it takes some great sharp pictures. The biggest camera features included in the update are 4K recording, which still hardly matters seeing as so few people can actually watch in 4K yet, 120 FPS shooting at 720p for slow-mo, which works pretty well and is really nice actually, and magic focus. Now let's talk about magic focus for a second. Magic focus, as LG calls it, is basically refocusing your picture after you take it, like so many companies are adding into their software. Now the problem with this is that you're not really focusing your picture after you take it. The camera just takes multiple pictures at different focus levels and you're choosing which one you like. Now this wouldn't be a problem if it didn't take as long as it does to take the pictures, and if any sort of movement from yourself or anything in the view didn't get affected. It's a neat feature, don't get me wrong, I just think LG sort of threw it in there without fine-tuning it. And now for what's probably one of the most important parts of this entire video is how does it stack up to the competition currently out? Well, the TLDR version of this is pretty amazingly. The G2 aged really gracefully and has proven to be one of the few phones that actually got better over time, and that never happens with technology. Now part of that has to do with the update and the improvements made in Android, but overall, LG's done a great job. The G2 still has top-of-the-line hardware. The Adreno 330 GPU is still the main GPU found in most phones right now, and even tablets. And the new Snapdragon 801 processor only has a very slightly higher clock speed and really not a whole lot of benefit over the 800. And the 2 gigs of RAM in this phone are definitely more than sufficient to do anything you want to do. Now let it be said that I've never experienced some sort of lag that hasn't been caused by me running an experimental software, because I do flash different ROMs all the time. And if you were to ask me what phone is going to get you the best bang for your buck today, I would say hands down the G2. Now I'm not talking one that has the best specs, I'm talking the absolute best bang for your buck. Phones that have come out lately like the Galaxy S5 or the HTC One or even the Xperia Z2 are really nice, don't get me wrong, but only marginally. The G2 stands as one of, if not the only phone that has OIS and 4K recording. Now I know 4K is still in its baby stages, but it's kind of nice to have still because you got to grow it somehow. That, and it's still one of the only phones with OIS in the hardware section. Now most of them have software OIS, but this one actually has both with the update in the form of OIS Plus for the software side. Now basically all that translates to is, unless you're maybe throwing your phone or riding a roller coaster or like pillaging a village, you really shouldn't have a problem getting a clear shot on this picture. The average price on contract is about $50 for the G2, and if you do a little digging, you're gonna find it for free because I've done it multiple times for a few friends. The G2 is really one of the best phones to come out in a long while, and the fact that it's only gotten better over time is really a testament to the new LG that it's been promised to us consumers. Well, unless you're loyal to another brand, I mean, there are a lot of different brands. I really see very few reasons to pick up any other phone at this time, strictly on the basis that it gives you the best bang for your buck. And that, my friends, is how the G2 has stayed the course of time. It's did a really good job so far, I think. You know, not many phones can say that after 6 months they're still relevant, and I would definitely suggest it to anybody who's looking for a new phone. I mean, I've done it a couple times already. People have been very satisfied. Certainly not perfect. I mean, no phone is perfect, but it does a lot of things right, and the things that it doesn't do so well are not the biggest problems in the world. Let me know what you think down below, as well as drop a like if you would be so kind. I want to know, do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you still think it's a good option? What do you think of the upcoming G3? That's looking to be a pretty good phone, pretty much a powerhouse, especially with the 2K screen that LG is all but confirmed. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. This is a huge year for tech. Every year is a big year for tech, but this one's even more so. So make sure you hit subscribe and keep up to date, because I've got some awesome content in the coming days and coming weeks. I've also got some sweet connections that I've started to make, so you definitely look forward to that. Make sure to follow me in all the various social media links that I've sprinkled down below. And as always, I say it every time, can't thank you enough for watching. You're the reason I do it. And I'll see you in the next video.